This month, PT changed its style of the reading fill in the blanks questions. It intensified on using certain patterns in the exam. If you ask me, it's actually easier, but people still find it difficult to crack the PT reading module because of this. So in this video, we are going to talk about all such reading fill in the blanks question patterns that are coming in the exam in this particular month. And this video can change your PT exam scores just in 30 minutes. Like and subscribe and let's watch it right till the end. Hey everyone, this is Anurag here from Edutrainex PT. I hope you all are doing great. Yes, people are still getting 8 band scores in the PT reading module. You can check our YouTube post sections, also our reviews on the Google. They will tell you how the students are getting 8 band beyond that. But yes, at the same time, the question pattern also keeps changing in the PT exam, and it is important to understand which type of questions, which patterns of usages are coming in the exam right now. I recently made a PT exam update video. In that I showed you a glimpse of what kind of questions and patterns of reading fill in the blanks questions are changing, and this is the video that we will explore them in detail. So if you understand all the patterns and the wordings around it, then you will definitely be successful in the PT reading module. But if you are not able to crack it yourself, then we do provide live classes. Do WhatsApp us or Telegram us. We could provide unlimited live classes with app access, a lot of resources. And if you're already preparing from somewhere, you just need a little bit of boost. We do provide 2 types of memberships on our YouTube channel. One is Priority, the other one is VIP. In Priority, you get the latest exam repeated questions. In the VIP, you not only get the repeated exam questions, but you also get the reading vocabulary list, the listening and writing spellings list, grammar ebook, templates, and exclusive access to some of our videos as well. So again, hit subscribe if you have not done it yet. Hit the like as well, and then let's start exploring the type of patterns of questions that are coming in the exam right now. Pattern number 1, that is right there on the screen. What do you observe? If you see the type of questions, now this is the drop down fill in the blanks type of question, and if you see the options are not difficult: need, should, can, must, have, having, has, had, how much, how many, however, so much. So these are basically a combination of conjunctions as well as prepositions. But before you deep dive into how to solve this, let's talk and examine all the wordings that are used in this sentence, and then after going through that, I'm pretty sure you will be able to solve the question in no time. So when do we use can or could type of words? When we are talking about probability. So something probable, not very sure, but it can impact, it may impact. That's the kind of usage where you have to use can or could. Need is like a requirement. So I need to do this for my exam. So that is a requirement. Whereas there is a slight difference between usage of should and must. If I say you should do it, then I'm recommending it to you. But when I say you must do it, then it becomes obligatory, it becomes mandatory, compulsory. You have to do it 100%. So that's the difference between should and must. This is recommendation, but this becomes compulsory, mandatory. Now, has, have, had. Now, over here, these words are used as verbs. Okay. Now, has, have, had are used as part of perfect tenses, and you know the pattern. After has, have, had, you require verb 3, but verb can also be used as a state of being or ownership, like he has a house, he has a laptop, or I have a cat. Has, have can also be used as ownership, or in case you have your food, I had my food, I had my lunch, I had my dinner. In that case also you can use has, have, had as verbs rather than just supporting the verb. Okay, same thing with having my food now. Now, slight difference between how much and how many. How much is used with something that you cannot measure. Okay, like time. How much time is left? You never say how many time is left. If you can measure something like hours, then you use how many hours are left. So that's the difference. Countable and uncountable. You use words like many with countable nouns, whereas much is always used with something that you cannot count. How much water is left? Again, water as a fluid you cannot count, but in liters, if you say how many liters, then you can use many. Okay, you got the difference? So much, again, related to uncountable, but it is used to show how much, degree. So much that you have to do so much effort. Okay. Now, however and but. We have covered these words before in our vocabulary videos as well, but I'm telling you again, however and but is exactly the same. Whenever you want to talk about anything contrasting, then you have to use words like however, but, contrastingly. On the other hand, all are similar, very, very similar. Now we'll go back to the question and then see if you can find it out now. So farmers fertilize their fields to ensure healthy crop growth. Okay, now this is like a recommendation. Must. There is no such must when we write any article or any scientific article are written that you have to do 100%. So it's not a compulsory thing. You can eliminate must. Need to do, of course, farmers need to do, but this is not. This is more like a recommendation. What did we discuss? Should. It's not about probability. So can also be eliminated. Should fertilize their fields to ensure healthy crop growth. But even the farmers who do not fertilize, they are still able to grow crops. So it's more like a recommendation. Okay, then you see the next one. Fertilizer dash a strong effect on agricultural productivity. So what will you say? Fertilizer is singular. Now there is another difference where you use has and have. Has is always used with singular subject, whereas have is used with plural subject. Like I, you is always treated as plural. So that's why I say I have a book, you have a laptop. But when I say he, I use has. So that's why has will become the correct. Fertilizer has a strong effect on agricultural productivity. Had an effect, it's more like a past tense. We are talking about generic thing, not about anything specific to past tense. Having fertilizer or not having or consuming anything. Okay. If the sentence was fertilizers are, then you should have gone for having, are having. So is having, are having. Okay. So that is a point of continuation. In those cases, you have to use continuous tense because in ing it is a continuous, whichever form you use. The next one. The real dash is that farmers often do not know dash fertilizer they should use. So there are two blanks here. What is it posing? Is it posing a conclusion? Of course not. Is it posing, it is giving you an answer? Of course not. Is it raising a question or is it talking about a problem? So the real question is or the real problem is? Problem is more appropriate here because there was no mention of question before. Like there are some questions in the exam where they will say, what is music? And then they will elaborate. This is the question asking about. In that case, you have to use question, but in this case, problem. And the last one, authors do not know how dash, how many, how much they should use. Again, fertilizers, unless the unit is specified here like kilos or kilograms or liters, nothing is mentioned. So it is immeasurable at this point of time, and that's why you go with how much instead of how many. Okay, that's one pattern of question. Let's look at another pattern of question. What do you see here? I see double words. First of all, contrasting to, even though, as if, now. These are option 3 is like prepositions. Again, another prepositions, another set of preposition and conjunctions are used. So out of 5 blanks, 4 of them are like that. So let's explore each of these words before we come back to the question and solve it successfully. Okay, the first one is could have. Could have is again like a probability, but it is something related to what you could have done, or I could have studied harder. So it's more like a probability, but you have not done it. Just emphasizing on that. Before, after means before something or after something. Back is again meaning the same. It's behind. So back of your mind, at the back of your mind. We don't say behind our mind, at the back of my mind. Okay. Now around and on. If you see an object, if you put something on the surface, there you have to use on. But around is somewhere around. Circumferencing or like a perimeter. I am roaming around the park. Okay. Not on the park. You can say in the park as well. What about off and in? Off can be used with many other words like turn off, put off. Okay. So those can be always signifying that you are cancelling something. And in is definitely a preposition. It's used with a lot of words. Okay. But in as a preposition by itself means inside something, in the box, in the park. Okay. Up again is used with many other words like pick up. So that's where you have to see where it is used. If it is used just alone, then it means up. Now, what about contrasting to and even though? Contrasting to, very, very clear, right? Contrasting to whatever information you are using. It's like a substitute of however, contrasting. Even though you say like, even though I put so much efforts, I did not get what I wanted. So even though shows that despite, it's like despite or in spite of. So those 3, you can use them together. As if, it's like more relating to the example. This exam is like as if you are standing before an invigilator. So as if, like a situational based. Now that, so you have talked about something in the past and then you're talking about now that we know about something, we can talk further. So now let's go back to the question and then see whether you understand these basic words and able to crack the question or not. First one, it's not related to the things that we discussed, but let's solve it. At the end of the last ice age, the melting ice disrupted the ocean currents in the North Atlantic and dash a drop in the temperature of almost 5 degrees. Okay, end of last ice age, historical. And as you can see, all the words are in past tense. So what happened? Ocean currents, melting ice disrupted the ocean currents, and so it's like something has caused something. Because of other reason, because of melting ice disrupted the ocean current, that caused something. Cause and effect, cause and effect. The effect over here is drop of temperature. So that's what, this is the area where you have to use the words like cause. Okay, let's see the other ones. Dash the rest of the planet was warming. Warming, dash. Warming, I told you, the words like in, op, off, all are used with many other words. Warming up is a very, very commonly used collocation. So straight away you can use warming up. But now you have to examine the second blank again. Are we talking about anything contrasting? I don't think so. Are we talking about any situational comparison? No. It's talking about the same time. So it's not talking about something that has already happened. And you're talking about the present, now that, but you're still talking about even though the rest of the planet was warming. It's talking about even though the rest of the planet was warming up, the North Atlantic region remained a cold period for 1300 years. So that's what, even though the entire planet was warming up, this region remained very, very cold. So that's what, in those scenarios you use even though. It's not trying to contrast or as if or now that. The same thing happened dash 8,000 years ago. Now you're not saying exactly 8,000 years ago, but approximating. Whenever you use approximating, you use the words like around, not before, after, or on. On definitely you have to be very specific, but around that time. So you are specifying, estimating. And the last one, and it, let's read the sentence. When the cooling lasted about 100 years and a dash happened again today. Probability, it can happen today or could happen today. In more formal English, you have to use could. Should definitely does not make sense. Could have requires a verb 3 after that. Can happen, could happen, both are applicable, but in these scenarios, as I told, could happen is more formal when you are writing about probabilities. So that becomes your answer. Let's look at the third pattern. Don't be scared when I show you the third pattern. It's really, really lengthy question. Now, if you see, I was falling short of the space on my screen. It's such a huge question and there are 9 blanks in one particular question. So again, you don't need to be scared. It's not a very difficult question. It's just that they have given you too many blanks in just one question. The strategy remains the same, and the time, of course, you have to put double the amount of time because you are getting 9 points from just one question. Let's examine what we observe in the words of this question and then we can solve it. What we observed in this type of lengthy questions is definitely usage of collocations. Words like under threat, warming up, source of, an estimated percentage, acceptable for, spread around, from, to, all those kind of words that we give in our vocabulary VIP list. That is where you can learn about usage of these collocations and also how to use them with the propositions. So if you have not seen our vocabulary list, this can save your life in the exam because those words have come up in the exam. And these are also real exam questions from these months that I have put up on the screen. And then you will be able to see the same words and how to use them. Once you learn that, you will become much more confident. So this is just a glimpse. If you need the entire thing, then you have to go for VIP membership plan. On the other hand, if you are joining us for the live classes, then of course you will get all such benefits what VIP and priority members get. And also you get live classes, portal access, everything. The other thing that you have to be knowledgeable about is phrasal verbs, something called as new verbs. When you combine one word with the other, it means something else, like caught and up. Caught up means occupied, not catching something. Served up means you are presenting it to someone to eat or to see, served up. Piled up, piling. Taken up means you have started something. I have taken up a new hobby of horse riding or anything. Taken up means starting something. Again, look at other words. Break up means breaking up a relationship. Breakdowns is like accidental or mechanical failure. Break apart again is break something that is falling apart. So if your phone falls down, breaks apart. Okay, so break apart, another phrasal verb. Crack down. Crack down is like police cracking down on some mafia. Crack up means the same thing like break apart. It's breaking. Crack open is often used with something in shells like eggs or coconuts. So you crack open the shells. So you like crack it and open it. So that's the appropriate usage of these phrasal verbs, which are also called as new verbs. You will see a lot of these words in our vocabulary bank as well, but you can Google it as well. Just type phrasal verbs, common phrasal verbs. You can learn around 80, 100 words. That should be enough for you. Now let's go back to the question and see if we can use some of that knowledge. The first one, and dash 80% of the world population. Average of, amount of, estimation of. So estimated is the only word in the correct grammar form, as well as I told you an estimated 80%. You use an estimated and then you give the percentage. Whereas the other word require preposition. So estimated becomes the first answer. The second one, more than 1,000 species of insects are dash up. Collocation, again, delicious up, we are here. Caught up, they are not occupied somewhere. Served up, piled up, taken up. See, we discussed all of them and served up is the correct one. The third one, a dash in parts of Africa. For example, kung fu cakes made from midges are a dash in parts of Africa. So are a food? No. Are a dessert? No. A delicious is adjective, we need a noun. So delicious something we need. A delicacy. Delicacy is something like a very peculiar or very popular food in some part of the world. That's what delicacy means. Okay, the next one. Dash is so high that 40 species are now under. It's talking about eating insects. So the demand is very high. That's why it's not about reputation, usage or supply. It's talking about demand. How people are demanding. So high. Are now under dash because the demand is so high that I think 40 species are under problem, under threat. So that is the correct usage we identified using the collocation. Under stress can also be used, but it is not meaningful here. Regulation, it's not being talked about any regulation or operation. It's just under threat because people are eating all the insects and they are getting extinct. The next one, makes dash sense. We are talking about eating insects, getting protein or whatever we are getting from the insects. So what are we talking about? We are talking about nutrition. So that's why nutritional sense. Some contain more dash than meat or fish. So what contain? Fat, protein, vitamins, minerals. Let's explore. Female gypsy moth, for example, is about 80% protein. The answer is given there. So just select protein here. Okay. You keep reading. Don't try to get the answer straight away. Sometimes you get the answers when you continue reading. Insects can be a good dash of, source of. So again, not resource of, not cause of. Okay. So these two we definitely are not talking about. We are talking about source of, where we are getting the things from. And the last one, it is acceptable for. So that's again collocation. Ignored about, weighed up, proposed on or in. So acceptable for is the correct preposition based collocation. And how will you learn about these is the vocabulary list in the VIP plan. Okay, so otherwise you can learn from the vocabulary videos that we make, but that's limited. If you're looking for the complete list, like 1500 or 2000 words are there, all coming in the exam right now, and many of them are repeated. Let's look at the pattern number 4. What do we see here? This pattern is talking about, as you can see, again two words combination. To turn off, turn on, turning off, turned off. More about usage. And see, more conjunctions. Although, since, because, thus, neither, either. So let's examine these again to do this question properly. So after 2, what do we use? This is a grammar pattern. I've already shared with you in the 10 leaked grammar shortcuts video. You can watch that, and that is also really helpful video to improve your grammar, because that is also required for you to crack the reading module. So after 2, verb 1 comes, and after verb 1, you will see a noun or pronoun. Absolutely. Then for instance is used to show for example. So instance, for example, same thing. On average, when you are talking about this is high, this is low, but on an average, this is what it is. In addition is used to expand. So you have to say, I have talked about this, and in addition, we also have this. So you are adding something to your argument. Of course is used when you've already talked about few things and then you want to substantiate. Of course, this is going to help you. Why? Because I have already told you in the arguments. Now, slight difference between minority and majority. These are again kind of adjectives, but you have to use it with always plural nouns. Okay, majority of the things, minority of the population. It will always be more than one. It can't be used with singular. Next, although, since, because, thus. Because provides reason. Thus, always when you use this kind of thus is more about conclusion, and thus will always require a comma after that. You can't use it without comma. Thus, therefore, hence. Every word that is sounding like conclusion will require a comma. Please note it down if you did not know that. Because, since, although do not require a comma. Since sometimes may or may not, but it's not compulsory. Let's examine the meaning. Because it's like reason. Since can tell you from the beginning of the time, since the beginning of the time. So from is something that is marked, or since long. You're just measuring some time using since. Although is always giving like even though, although I have put so much effort, I was unable to get the scores. So that's the way although, despite, in spite of. And the last two, neither, either. Again, you need more than one thing when you talk about neither this nor that. Either this or that. Neither nor, either or. We always talk about two things. When it is just talking about one thing, you can't use these words. Okay, now let's go back to the question and then see if it matches with what I am trying to say here. First one, to turn off, to turn off, turning off, turned off. What is it talking about? Understand the context. In the UK, it is recommended that drivers should turn off, see, their car engines when they expect to be stationary for more than 1 minute. To encourage drivers, dash their engines while waiting at rail crossing. Which one will you choose? Encourage drivers to turn off, because we are trying to say, asking them, we are expanding the phrase to encourage drivers to turn off. It's an activity. Over here also, they have used should. So some kind of preposition or conjunction should be used before just turn off. So we'll go with to turn off. Turning off you could have ignored because it's not in continuous tense. While waiting for, but the activity of turning off happens only once. It's not a continuous activity. Turned off, again it's a past tense. So you should have only thought between to turn off or turn off. So if you look at this, to encourage drivers, turn off their engines or to turn off. To turn off is more appropriate. Next one. What are we talking about? Let's read the sentence again. The Kent City Council placed a permanent sign at the crossing asking the drivers to please switch off your engines when barriers are down to help improve air quality. And then dash, drivers had to wait between 2 to 3 minutes to cross after the barrier had gone down. So is it talking about 2 and 3? Is it what is it giving you? An example? No. Is it expanding on some more information? No. Is it substantiating or resubstantiating what was said? No. Just talking about an average figure between 2 and 3 minutes. Every person has to wait in front of the barrier. So that's why we use that. And now comes dash. However, the sign didn't seem to be convincing the dash of drivers. See, exception of drivers, unity of drivers is not even making sense. Only comes minority or majority. So if you continue reading or if you make sense out of it, we always talk about despite putting the signs, however is used, it is contrasting. So every time 2 to 3 minutes people have to wait, but despite that, majority of them do not switch off their engines. So that's a contrast. Right, the last one, not the second last one. Dash, some research suggests that science dash this, and then you see there is a subordinate clause as well. There is a main clause here and the subordinate clause ends here. Okay, so dash, some research suggests that science dash can change behavior. Now the same sentence has two blanks. Now you have to look at the words. Thus you can eliminate because there is no comma. It's not concluding anything. Now because some research suggests that science dash can change behavior, the message on this sign was designed simply to be an information request and not guided by any particular behavior theory. It's not giving an answer, it's not giving a reason. So again, because it's not making sense. Since, again, it's not talking about any time. Since the morning or since the last few years, it's not saying that. So although some research suggests that science alone can change behavior. So the next answer is alone. The message on the sign was designed simply to be an information request. So signs alone cannot change the human behavior. That's what the passage is trying to say. Despite putting the signs, despite encouraging, people are still turning on their engine. So these are the type of patterns of questions that are coming in the exam. As you can see, most of them are focusing, or many of them are focusing on simple words combined together, whether you know how to use them or not. It's less about usage of grammar, less about, word power, but it's simple words, but how to use them. That's what is being tested in this particular month. Many questions following similar pattern. And then there are the usual patterns which we have already explained to you before. I'm pretty sure that after watching this video, you will be much more confident and you will be having access to the prediction files or the questions that are coming in the exam. If you don't have it, then you should get it. You can become our live class member by WhatsApping us or Telegramming us, or you can buy the YouTube Priority or VIP membership. But other than that, as I told you, 40 vocabulary videos that we publish on a monthly basis. Please go and watch that playlist, as well as the 10 league grammar shortcuts. Start with that. Grammar, vocabulary, and the word power together is going to crack the reading module for you within no time. So keep watching Edutrainex, and I'll soon be back with another super informative video on PT topics. See you soon.